the previous day we would have gone over close reading skills, and so Shay, I'm going to start from the beginning of the lesson. So your homework would be out on the top right-hand corner of your desk, and I would have greeted you at the door. So good morning, everybody. Just take out your homework, place it on the top right-hand corner of your desk, and if you could take a minute to write the objective into your notebook, we're going to walk through it together in just a second.
And I just have pen. Is that yours or is that mine?
This is yours.
Thank you.
And when you're finished writing down the objective, just put your pencils down and heads up, please. Does someone want to read the objective aloud for me? Betty?
Examine Shakespeare's language in order to make predictions about character and plot.
Good. So this summer we're going to be reading Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. And we haven't gotten into the text yet, but first we're going to examine some individual aspects of Shakespeare's language so we can make guesses as to what the play might be about. Now, when you go to the movies, before the movie starts, what happens? Carly?
There's previews.
There's previews, right. And how long are they usually? Betty?
About 10-15 minutes, I think.
How about one individual?
Oh, one?
One individual preview.
About a minute. Or
About a minute long. And what can you usually tell about the movie when you're watching the preview? Jess?
You know some of the characters maybe, you might know like the plot or if it's an action or comedy or...
Exactly. You can learn a lot about a movie from that 1 minute preview. And similarly, from Shakespeare's language, we can learn a lot about what Much Ado About Nothing might be about. So now we're going to play a little game. We're not going to move yet, so don't move, stay in your seats. But we're going to get into a circle, and I'm going to give you an index card. On one side of the index card is a word that will appear in Much Ado About Nothing, and on the other side will be the definition of that word. We're all going to take a look at our word. It'll be a different word that each of you have. Put it in your pocket when you think you have it down, and then we're going to pass a ball to each other. And as you pass the ball, we're going to say the word you have so we can all hear each other's words. Sound good? Okay, let's get into a circle. Actually, we can do it right here. Everyone have. So I want everyone to take a look at the word and also take a look at the definition on the back, please. Okay. Does anyone have a word that they are uncertain how to pronounce or a definition they don't understand? Are we good? Okay. Let's put the card down. Okay. And it's important to make eye contact with the person you're passing to. We want the person to catch the ball, okay? Virtue.
Oh, you going?
Yes.
Mischief.
Cupid.
Disdain.
Maiden.
Accusation.
Skirmish.
Affection.
What are we talking about?
Virtue.
Oh, what am I? Skirmish.
Cupid.
Accusation.
Maiden.
Mischief.
Okay. We're going to stop right there. Now let's just take your cards again. And so everyone can hear the word one more time and its definition. We're going to go around, say the word, and then say the definition. Claire, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, a maiden is an unmarried girl.
Michael?
Cupid is the Roman god of love.
Max?
Affection is a tender feeling or emotion.
Slander is to defame, harm, or harm someone's reputation.
Accusation is a charge of wrongdoing.
Mischief is a source of harm or an action that annoys.
Disdain is a feeling of contempt or scorn.
And skirmish is a minor dispute between opposing parties.
And virtue is moral excellence. Okay, so now we're going to take your seats. particular that you can think of that really stood out? Vanessa?
Cupid, because it was like a person and not just like a.
Okay. Jess?
Well, there was Cupid, and that was about like love and falling in love, but then there was Maiden, and that was someone who didn't fall in love or, right, get married.
Right. Good. Max?
And there was also the word disdain, which is sort of the opposite of love.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Carly?
There's also skirmish, which is like a fight or disagreement.
So what are some Betty?
I had accusation, which could go along with skirmish because maybe the skirmish happened because of an accusation.
And how about slander, right? Marissa?
So slander could cause the accusation, which could cause the skirmish, which could cause the disdain on the maiden.
Definitely.
And I had mischief.
And mischief.
Gloria up in there.
Stick that in there.
So it seems like we have here on the board two real, I think affection was one of them as well, right? So that would go here. So we have two very different categories of words here. We have one that's sort of negative, right? And one that's more centered on love and good feelings. So now I want you to take a minute to take out a sheet of paper and to write down what about these words makes you make a certain prediction about the play. What might you be thinking about one of the characters, an aspect of the plot? And to give you a brief example, if one of the words had been pride, I might have assumed, oh, one of these characters in Shakespeare's play is probably proud. And how might that influence his or her actions? What might other characters respond to about that character? So be thinking about those types of questions as you write. We'll take about 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll come together and share. Yes, Max?
Virtue also a word?
Virtue is a word as well. That's right. So which category would you put that under?
The positive side.
The positive side. So Max just pointed out that virtue was another word that we can put on the positive side.
Sorry.
Is everything okay, girls?
Yeah, sorry.
How's it going? Great. Thank you. How are you doing? And you're all set if you just want to put your pens down and heads up. Would anyone like to read what they wrote? Jess?
I said there might be a really big fight because there's a skirmish, and this fight might have something to do with mischief, which could lead to accusations and slander, but all this could have to do with love.
Okay. Interesting. So
I
how
think.
many characters do you think would be involved? in
A
this?
lot. Because a
lot of
skirmish, I
purpose.
feel like, is a lot of people.
Okay, it could be. It could be a lot of people. That's certainly true. Betty?
I wrote that maybe there'll be a Cupid who causes the maiden to fall in love with the wrong person, causing disdain among the other parties involved in the matter.
And what made you come up with that order?
Oh,
Did you have
Well-
a process of sifting through the words to figure out which order they would come?
kind of, yeah. So, I mean, Cupid, when I think Cupid, I think of like, causing someone to fall in love. And the maiden is not married, but I feel like the Cupid just, made the maiden fall in love with the wrong person, but the person doesn't return her love, and that's causing like all this other issues because that other person probably has his own person.
Okay. Wow, that sounds like a complicated plot we could be getting ourselves into, right? But we can do it. Max?
I think maybe the Cupid might be the cause of the mischief.
Okay.
And because of that, the characters in the play may be fighting over love.
Wow. And how did you come to that? What made you
Because
think of?
the word skirmish might be because I think love would be something that's a topic that characters would fight over, and skirmish is also a word relating to that.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Vanessa, how about you?
I said I wanted to focus on the good side, so if someone has virtue, they're probably good. So that maybe could cause someone to have fall in love with them, and that could be related to affection.
Sounds good. And do you think Cupid would be involved there?
I guess so, right?
Okay. Now, yesterday we talked a lot about close reading skills. We talked about how it was important to pay attention to a text and what are some strategies that we might use as close readers. So now let's talk about what's the importance of making these types of predictions, even if they're not right or wrong. Why might it be important for us to make guesses about what the play is about? Betty?
Well, if we're making guesses before we start reading it, it'll give us something in mind to help us, decipher what the text is going to be about.
Does everyone agree with that? Carly, did you have something to add?
Well, and if the words in our prediction appear in the text, we'll be able to notice them more.
Right. So we have textual evidence to support our predictions. That's an important part about making predictions. They need to be grounded in the text. But what else can we obtain from our predictions? Can we relate to our predictions? Did your predictions, Betty?
Oh yeah, because when we predict things, it's usually something that we can relate to from our own lives, which will help us relate to Shakespeare more.
Right. So good. So what can we assume from these words that Shakespeare is writing about? He's writing about these subjects, but ultimately he's connecting to what? In general, more generally. Does that make sense?
Like our lives.
Our lives, right. So he was connecting to the lives, certainly of the people of his time, but he was also connecting to subjects that are still relevant today. Okay, so I guess now at this point in my lesson, I would have us all move on to the play and have us take a section and act it out. And then we would make specific predictions about a character from that. And then following that, we would break up into groups and you would find 3 pieces of textual evidence to support your predictions that we made together on the board about that character. And then for homework, you would read a summary of plot 1 and you would make a prediction about the remainder of the play, the plot of the play from that handout. So I think I run a little